Tonight, I'm going to share with you some information about the elementary unit of the African society as it obtains in every other society, which is the family. And what we'll be looking at tonight is roles, the role played in the African family. In essence, we're going to be considering the role played by the father, the mother, and child or children in the African family. Before we go into discussion, I'd like to share a little story with you. It happened about 18 years back. I was a child then, and I just returned from school, and I was watching my favorite cartoon, which is Voltron, the Defender of the Universe. And all of a sudden, my mother's voice jolted me into reality. And she said, it goes like this. It might be exaggerated so you can really enjoy it, but it goes something like this. Hey, young man! What? I know this is your favorite Cartoon Network, but it's becoming habitual of you, and you can't come back every day and just sit in front of the TV. You need to find something to do, because I'm not raising a young man whose job is only to sit in front of the TV and not be able to bring enough money home to take care of his wife and children. Man, I was very young then, but you would consider my mother as a wicked woman or something, but that's not it. She is playing a role as an African mother, because it is like this in African society. Right from cradle, while your kids are very young, African parents hold the responsibility to bring up the child so that when he becomes a father or mother, he would be able to perform his role very well. They don't allow you to get to the point when you get married and you start running back to the family to say, Mom, how am I going to handle this? Daddy, how am I going to handle this? So that was what my mother was doing then. She didn't tell me all this, but I got to grow up and know that that was why she did it then. And in fact, she has forgotten about that particular event, but it sticks to me because I was living in a Cartoon Network world, and she just jolted me back to reality. So the next thing we're going to consider is this. We're going to be looking at the father, the mother, and the child. This is a picture of my engagement ceremony. This is how we do it back in Africa, and I chose it because I think it's colorful. Right, I know what's going on in your mind now. If I get this information, what does it really mean to me? I'm American, well, African family, so what do I do with it? Now, I found two reasons why you should listen to this information, why you should consider it very important. Because once you're able to understand how the African family is structured, it gives you a wider perception of global culture. The world is becoming global, and the more you understand why people do the things they do, how people act the way they do, it helps you, it makes you much more informed and learned. So that's one reason it's going to expand your horizon of global culture. And two, I have met most of my American friends, male and female, and they tell me, see, this guy asked me out. I love this American lady, but I don't know what it's going to be like. If I get married to this lady, what does she expect me to do? So if you have a friend who's in that position, or you might think, well, I love this African man, or I love this African lady, how would she expect me to act since we're from different cultures? Once you understand the roles that the father and mother plays tonight, it could give you a leverage to take informed decision. So let's look at the father. What is the role of the father in the African society? The African sees the man as the head of the family. Now, as the head, he is the decision maker and the final provider. In the African setting, the father is seen as the final authority in the family. Most people look at this as being autocratic, but that is not the case. What in the African setting, what we're trying to look at is the man is responsible for the success or failure of his family. So if it turns out successful, the man gets the credit. If it turns out the other way, the man gets the blame. So we're just trying to label someone so we can find someone to hold responsible, so you don't trade blame. So it was my kid, no, it was my wife, no. The father is seen as the head. He takes decisions about financial matters. Do we build a house? Do we rent an apartment? What name do we give to this child? And that's very different, because when I had my my first child in the United States, the nurse just came around to my wife, so what's your child going to do? And I said, well, you're overlooking me. It's like they just concentrated on the woman. Well, I know I'm in a different culture, but that's not how it is back home. The mother gives birth to the child, she brings it home, and the father decides what name to give to the child after 8 days. Let's look at the woman. What's the role of the wife? The wife is believed to be the neck of the man. If the man is the head, then the woman is the neck. Now, well, the head thinks, but the head cannot turn around without the neck. So the woman is seen as the basic support of the man. Most people too believe that African women are maybe subjected to the husband's authority. No, that's not it. Well, just like I explained earlier on, the man is responsible for whatever happens in the family. The woman is only seen as playing a supportive role. But it's a very important role because the woman is also seen basically as a life giver. Once she comes into the family, it is not only the man anymore, it is not only the woman anymore. You start hearing noises of babies and all that. So the woman is believed as the one who animates the family. In fact, back home, if you're not married as a young man and you reach the marriage age, you're not shown much respect as the man who's married, because now they think he's responsible. And even they consider that in giving employment and putting people in managerial positions back in my country, because they believe, well, if you are capable of being responsible for a woman and the children, then you should be able to supervise your subordinates in the office. Now, quickly, we'll look at the role of the child or children in the family. The child or the children are seen as the legs in the family, because at the end of the day, they come to support the parents when they reach old age. You train your child as an African so that when he grows up, he can have a good job, and when you're not able to work anymore, he can then give back the investments that you've made into him or her. So they support in old age and they ensure continuity. Continuity in the sense that if the family has a kind of business, a family business they do, then the child has to continue with that. Time is up now, but I would like to thank you for having listened to me. And my mother had another opportunity to assess me when I did my marriage. And when I gave her the first check, showing that I had come to take up my responsibility as a support to her in old age. Thank you for listening to me.